You like jazz?
Yes. Yes, I do. Acid jazz, to be more specific, is a genre of jazz that I was introduced to by, you guessed it, Persona 5. I've always been a huge fan of the sound of jazz, and I've always wanted to learn how to properly play and improvise in that style. However, my improvisation skills are slim to none, and the main and only way that I currently jazzify my sound is by adding a 7th chord to my regular chords. For the non-music people watching, this is the difference between a normal C chord and a C chord with a 7th note. Pretty jazzy, huh? Intro aside, I'll be explaining to you why Persona 5's music and sound in general is fucking awesome, and why you should listen to it and play the game! Respectfully. Before even getting into specific scenes within the game, it's also worth mentioning that this game has a song for damn near every different scenario you find yourself in. Hymn of the Soul for when you enter the Velvet Room, Triumph for when you win a battle, Tokyo Emergency for when you navigate through everyday life when you have a quest to do, which also has a more laid-back and happy version of the song when there isn't much to do. And one of my personal favorites, Beneath the Mask, which is for more calm, indoor activities, which also has an even more calm version for when it rains in-game. Not only are there a lot of tracks depending on where in-game you are under specific circumstances, but there are also different types of tracks for the scenarios you find yourself in the most. Take, for example, the battle themes, because you'll be finding yourself into battles back to back to back for the RPG part of this, well, JRPG game. Willpower, Last Surprise, Takeover, Rivers in the Desert, and Keeper of Lust. 5 different songs for normal battles within their respective palaces, not including the boss palace themes, which also kind of really fucking schmack. I like Kanashiro's one the most. Oh my, yo, this music, man. Wait. There's gotta be a really cool part. Wait. Right here. Ooh!
Shall we go?
Even though he's kind of a scumbag. Majority of these songs using a rock-styled guitar to emphasize the badassery that you as the player are going through, kicking the ass of crazy mythical beings alongside your comrades. In every palace, you have to eventually reach the boss on a specific day, usually the day after you sent out the calling card. But before each boss, we have to actually travel through the palace again to reach the battle arena of the boss, which tosses us through the map which we've already infiltrated before, but with another theme that stays consistent for the other times that we're about to take on the boss. Before every single end boss, this same theme plays, which plays into our familiarity. We've been here before, not only in the sense that we know how to navigate the boss's palace because we've infiltrated before, but also we've heard this track before and know exactly what we're heading into. I swear, man, Persona 5's OSTs always make me bop my head, dance around in my chair, or sing along before I even realize it. Other than the music in Persona 5, which already complements its aesthetic perfectly, there are also actual sounds and sound effects within the game itself. Duh. From the menu selection, where our main character slaps the screen accompanied by a slapping-esque sound, un momento, por favor. The anime-sounding slashes and hits in combat that aren't too realistic but are very much reminiscent of their anime style.
Someone finish it! Die already!
And the Persona summoning sounds whenever you open the Persona menu mid-battle.
Persona!
Chaos.
Persona!
I could go on and on about the cool sounds of everything in this game, but we'd be here for longer than my assignment would allow me to. So, I wanted to point out these specific sound design choices to analyze a bit. I mentioned this one briefly just earlier, but when selecting a Persona-based attack, the character you have selected will summon their Persona by yelling its name, or by yelling
Persona! Persona!
Chaos.
Persona!
Accompanied by the sound of what resembles to be a large flame combusting and dying out, as if the Persona was summoned from fire, which is kind of visualized like that in the game, with like blue flames, and it looks really fucking cool, and it just makes it even more badass. In battle, you as a player can hit enemies with attacks with certain affinities, and said enemies can be weak to specific affinities. Which affinities they're weak to is for us to discover by tossing everything we got at them.
In fear that, like, my thing will crash again. He's weak to wind!
When you attack an enemy with the right affinity, or a critical hit, the game will show a small pop-up of whichever character you're controlling at that time, every single one of them focusing on their eyes of the character with this kind of gotcha look to them. This small pop-up is accompanied by a shimmering sound, something shiny. The one chance you saw of knocking down your opponent with their weakness, really putting the cherry on top of that gotcha moment.
In fear that, like, my thing will crash again. He's weak to wind!
We're all knocked down! That was incredible, Joker!
And last, but certainly not least, the fact that Joker, our main character, names every single Persona character he summons.
Orpheus Picaro! Kaguya! Kaguya Picaro! Tsunagi! Tsunagi Picaro! Ariadne Picaro! Magatsu Izanagi! Magatsu Izanagi Picaro! Athena Picaro! Kiyomi Picaro!
The fact that this voice actor had to record 192 different names that is used only for selecting a persona. This much work for just a small yet impactful moment that would just become repetitive if all he screamed was
Persona!
for the ability that is arguably used the most in game. I just really like this game, man.